Only 60 days until the start of the NBA season. That means we're in mock draft season. Let's get it. G'day guys, DMAC from NBA Fantasy Bible here. Yes, it is the first mock draft on Yahoo of the season. It opened up just the other day. I can't wait to get involved. We've got 12 participants, several fantasy analysts, and some from the public as well. 12-team, 9-cut head-to-head league. Let's go and get it. But before we do, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and like all things if you did enjoy the show. But let's go into it. G'day, guys. I'm here with none other than Dan, Thunder Dan Palyo. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, man?
Doing really well. Now, like I said at the top of the show, we are going into my first Yahoo mock draft of the season. Can't wait. We're about to start. We're getting into the room as we speak. Draft is loading, and we'll share that screen very shortly. Now, Dan, how many of these mock drafts have you done so far?
Well, I'll be totally honest with you. This is my first Yahoo mock. I've been doing a lot of industry mocks on Fantrax with a lot of our, friends and colleagues here. But first Yahoo one, excited about it. Really curious to see how this goes compared to the Fantrax ones, being that the pre-ranks are so different, and there's a lot of different, I think, players who are gonna just naturally go in different parts of the draft based on just where they're sitting in the default rankings. So we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Now, I've got the screen here. Here's the draft board. So I'll try to focus on my picks. You're drafting from pick 9. I'm drafting from pick 12. So at the turn, we're about to start in 6 seconds. Consensus number 2. We've got a few analysts in the room as well. Papi Roy, Steve St. Pierre, Karan as well, Leo Points, among a few others. Yourself at 9. Any idea who may drop to 9?
I have no idea. I basically we were talking pre-show. I picked ninth. There was only when I jumped in the draft 6, 7, and 9 available, and I was like, I'm not picking 6. Just no way. I feel like that's the worst spot to pick because there's about I don't know 5 or 6 different guys you could really make a solid case for at 6. So
Absolutely.
I feel like
and
sitting back at 9, you can kind of just wait and see who falls to you.
And here you are, as you speak. And while you make your pick, I've just gone through the first 8. Victor Wembanyama at 1. Shai went at 2. Steve St. Pierre took Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 2. I'll have to have you on the show to discuss that one. That'll be quite controversial to discuss. Nikola Jokic at 3. Luka Doncic at 4 to Karan. Leo took Cade at 5. I much prefer Cade over the likes of Giannis at 5.
Yeah.
JT, Jason Tatum at 6. Giannis at 7. Maxey at 8. And you've taken Jalen Johnson.
I did. I saw Josh Lloyd put out a tweet earlier this week, like, why is Jalen Johnson going in the first round? And it kind of confused me because I think he pointed out that, he was not great down the stretch or after CJ went there. I don't really care. I think he's just such a solid foundation with the points, rebounds, assists, and a little of everything else that, like, he's just such a safe pick that and a no punt pick from the first round. I don't know. I have a hard time not taking him in that 9, 10, 11 range just because of this foundation he gives you. You can go in any different direction with him. So I'm pretty comfortable there. He's young. He's healthy. He's just done it now for a couple seasons, and I think he's as safe as you can go in the last half of the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. We did see that when CJ McCollum joined the team at the back end of last season, there was a bit of a drop-off, but I still think he's a very solid end of first rounder. He's the franchise face. He's the star of that team. He's still a pretty young guy as well. Let's move on to 10. Ant Edwards went at 10. Tyrese Halliburton at 11. Some quite divisive. Some think he's an easy first rounder. I'm a little bit cautious. I think there's a bit of a ramp up. And we saw a couple of seasons ago before the injury that it did take a bit of time for him to ramp up as well. There'll be missed games, of course, 15 back-to-backs for the Pacers. So I'm a bit cautious about Halliburton. I've taken Flag at 12 and Donovan Mitchell at 13. But your thoughts on Halliburton, because you've also taken a pick not long after myself.
Halliburton, I'm really with you with the cautious. I know our friend Kingy is a little more bullish on him. I just want to kind of see it. I know he's had a full year to recover. I know Tatum came back and looked good off the same injury, but that's not an easy injury to come back from. I just don't know that he's going to be 100% of what we saw from him at his peak before the injury.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm comfortable taking him in that middle of the second round, and he's
Yeah.
probably not going to drop that far, to be honest. So I'm not going to have him in many leagues. I would predict, but I would probably be more comfortable in the second round. But like I said, Flag. I took Flag for the upside at 12. I think he's going to be fantastic, even with Kyrie Irving coming back this season
Yeah.
for the Mavs. Donovan Mitchell. There's a lot of talent on that Cavs team, and I guess you're very excited by that.
Very excited about the Peyton Watson signing. Let me ask you this: is it Mitchell like the pairing of Mitchell with Flag? Is it kind of like one upside guy, one safe guy? Because Donovan Mitchell, I like him plenty, but like I feel like he's more safety than he is upside in this version of the Cavs, right?
Absolutely. And I have gone safety. You see the names afterwards: Kevin Durant, straight after him, Steph Curry. So there's age there. And I want to be cautious with that coming into this season. I've been burnt in the past. Scotty Barnes, we're thinking that Kawhi will join the Raptors. I think that's almost a formality now. So
Yeah.
perhaps the Kawhi effect may impact Scotty Barnes. Karl Anthony Towns, obviously coming off a championship. Is there a bit of a championship blues? Remains to be seen. But hey, like you said, very safe Donovan Mitchell right there. You've taken Scotty Barnes with your second pick. So, um,
It's probably a pairing thing. I like pairing him with Jalen Johnson. Both guys are really good point rebound assist guys. Defensive stats. The fact that he's eligible at center right now, I don't know, if that's going to last or what, but he has center eligibility. That's almost like a cheat code in a way there. So yeah, I mean, I like going, and I'm a little light on points right now. I'm going to have to address that. But as far as other categories, I feel pretty good with that pairing.
yeah, and we are racing through. Just to remind people, this is a category league, 9 cat. It's 12 teams. No third round reversal like we've seen in Fantrax. So it's pretty standard. Yahoo leagues or rooms opened not that long ago. My first draft as well. I've got to think about it. You're on the clock very shortly. You're on the clock right now. I'll quickly go through some of the other picks while you think about it. So
Yeah.
we spoke about Curry. We spoke about Barnes, your pick. Karl Anthony Towns at 17. We also have Holmgren at 18. 19 was Reeves. I'm really high on Reeves this season. Jamal Murray, I think that's a really safe pick at 20. LaMelo Ball, Karan. I know that Karan on Twitter has spoken about LaMelo and the upside of LaMelo. So that's a classic Karan pick there. And I don't mind that at all, even alongside of Ant Edwards.
Ooh, I
So
just got stuck. I thought I was gonna get Mobley and went right, but he went right in front of me, and I got stuck on the clock there. So I ended up with Khan. Is that too early for Khan? You think?
it's the earliest I've seen for quite some time, but the upside is there. Obviously, it's himself,
Uh,
Brandon Miller. They're going to be dominating for that team this season. It's early, but I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's
yeah.
bad at all. Now, I need to focus here. There's a few nice names I'm considering at around this point. We're at pick 36, end of the third round. Look, I'm going to go Booker. He was somewhat
That was
disappointing
my other
last
pick.
season. I'm going to go
Yeah.
Booker there. I probably need some big men. I've got guards and wings. It's probably due I get a big man. Do I like anyone? Am I obsessed with anyone at this point?
I
Not,
mean,
not
between
really.
Dern and Sabonis and Bam Clingan,
Yeah,
there's a lot of guys right there.
there's a lot of guys. I was big on this guy last season. I might not take Klingon. I might go Duran. Now we know that he was disappointing in the playoffs, but his regular season was fantastic. I
Mm.
do need a big man there. Perhaps slightly early for Duran. Um, what do you think about Jalen Duran
No,
there?
I don't think it's that early. I think it's about right. I mean, early. Either I mean, you're on the turn, so like he wouldn't have come back obviously. So I think early fourth round, end of the third round is fine for Duran. Um, it's also a safer pick than Sabonis or Sabonis is probably the better fantasy player, but we just have so many questions about is he gonna what's his season gonna look like, and I think that's what's holding people back.
Absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm up
And
on the
just going
I'm up.
back to the second round while you're on the clock here, I'll just speak while you're picking. We got up to um, LaMelo Ball at pick 22, Josh Giddey, Kyrie, second round. Again, this is a Steve St. Pierre special. Kyrie for the upside, but 23 is probably the absolute highest I've
Yeah,
seen.
that's
That's a
early.
great roto pick. Head to head, I'm very scared about that one, Steve. But perhaps again he can discuss some of his picks. He's gone very aggressive. Shea at 2, and then he's gone Kyrie and Kawhi Leonard. This is just the all upside team, isn't it?
I will say that the Shea Kyrie pairing won me a couple leagues a few years ago. That's an elite guard, a field goal percentage team right there. If if you get 60 games out of Kyrie, I mean, it's a great pairing, but it's obviously a lot of questions there.
A lot of questions there. Straight after Kyrie, Trey Young at 24. Bit of a bounce back. Very disappointing season last season. Injury ravaged season last season, I should say. Alperen Şengün went to Puppy Roy there at the first pick of the following round. What do you think of Şengün? Obviously, he's got some deficiencies in 9-cap, but Şengün at 25?
I'm a little bit off of Şengün this year. I think everyone was in on him last year, and was kind of disappointing. And the fact that Fred VanVleet is back. I mean, are they going to run as much offense through him? Are the assists going to go down? It was nice seeing him add threes, but like it hurt his field goal percentage, and he was
Yeah.
ton of turnovers. He's kind of a counting stats guy, and he doesn't do enough in the other categories to really make him worth it. Now, I will say I took Klingon here, and I'm not. Again, we're talking through these picks, and then they're like, we're on the clock, and we have to make a quick pick. I like Klingon a lot. I think it fits the build that I'm going with: points, rebounds, assists. Trying to win blocks here. I am in a bad spot for points, as you can see. Like I don't have a 25-point scorer on the team yet, so it's not quite a full punt points build, but it's kind of almost going that way. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to throw out my Klingon analysis. I do like Klingon a lot. I think he's going to be a good pick, but it seemed
Yeah.
almost a little early for him there. But again, we're going off these ranks, which is, he's sitting with a pre-rank of like, what was his pre-rank, 40 or 41 or something. So it's like
Yeah.
he's going to get pushed up the board.
He will. And I have seen distinct differences between the ADPs on Fantrax and Yahoo. A lot of that has to do with those pre-ranks on Yahoo that we released the other day. Not as crazy as ESPN, but depending on the screen that you're looking at those ranks as well, quite contrasting as well. So not that far off in terms of Fantrax ADP, but it'll be interesting nonetheless to see where those ADPs land just before I guess the season starts. We're about 60 days away from the start of the season. It seems like a long way, but 2 months will go by that quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Very quickly, just going through some other picks there. You're about to make your pick as well. Just going to go back. So Şengün we spoke about at the end of the start of the third round, I should say. Kawhi Leonard. Straight after that, we spoke about Steve's very risky play. Trey Murphy after that. I do like Trey Murphy, even on a struggling Pelicans team.
Oh, yeah.
Trey Murphy at that point of the draft, third pick of the third round, really, really like. Anthony Davis, we know the concerns. So the fourth pick of the third round, we know the concerns around Anthony Davis, but by all accounts, he wants to play as many games as possible this season, and we know his per game output is just elite.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously, I think he's going to be a value in drafts. I've made the case for taking him last year at the end of the first round, and obviously it burned me. But now that he's dropping, so far, it's like it's almost a no-brainer. I mean, there's a lot of guys like that, a lot of older veteran guys like him or Harden or others who are Steph Curry, who are all going to go in the later rounds now, or back towards the mid rounds. And you're like, if they do anything close to their normal thing, they're going to be incredible values.
It's almost unpopular to take these older guys, but we always say he's a year older, but technically everyone's a year older. But we just are very cautious around some of these veterans. But the guys like Kawhi, I am extra cautious about. We know of the load management of the past, and he's a year older, but I still see concerns with the likes of Kawhi. But just going through some of the other picks, straight after AD was Walker Kessler. I need to focus on my pick very shortly. I'm up next. Let me just focus on that while we.
I almost missed mine there. I was looking over at like 4 or 5 seconds left. Like, geez.
And this is the concern when we try to make a show whilst we're also picking. Look, this may be a little bit early. What do we pick? 60. I could go LeBron. Do you know what? I'm on the turn. I'm going to go LeBron.
That's not early. I think it's fine.
I'm going to go a young guy, and it's not Cam Boozer, but it's actually someone who's a little bit older. Matas Buzelis, massive on Buzelis this season.
I love it, man. I love it. It's funny. He was like, what? When Yahoo messed up their initial rank stump, he was like 8th or something, and I was like, that's really bullish. But I've been a Matas guy for years. I built around him in the dynasty league, and I love him. He's going to be great. Realistically, that's where you have to kind of target him in a competitive league, because he wouldn't have made it back to you. There's no way.
Definitely. And this league, like we said, there's quite a few analysts in here and some other really switched on guys that aren't considered analysts but have played a lot of fantasy basketball. So you do have to cater for your league as well. In probably less experienced leagues, you can possibly wait around. Again, it does depend on that ADP, but aggressive on Bazelis there. But let's just go through some of the others.
My
Let's
last 2
go. So
kinda sorry, I'm
yeah,
gonna
go
do
through your
kinda
pick.
do my last 2 picks were glue guys, Anunoby and McDaniels. They're just like comfort picks for me. I think they're never gonna hurt you. They're 9 cap players. I got sniped on Bane right before I wanted another score, and Bane got taken right ahead of me. So now I'm almost into like a punt points build. But those 2 guys I think are just super safe picks with top 50 upside. I mean, let's face it. Anunoby was not just great in the playoffs; he was great all year. McDaniel's has a bigger role probably in Minnesota this year and a chance to really break out. So I love both those guys.
I love it as well. OG and Anobi, especially. We know what he brings to the table in terms of defense, but offensive output is also there as well. There's was some talk around Jalen Brunson being injured during the finals series as well. So perhaps they take it a little bit easier on him, but that's just not the Jalen Brunson way. But having said that, I still expect OG and Anobi to be close to that top 50 again. And I love you, Jaden McDaniels. Huge upside. It wasn't that long ago that we thought he was just a defensive specialist,
Mm,
but we show that he was more than that last season. And he finished the season really strongly. And perhaps with LaMelo Ball facilitating, he gets
yeah.
a few more of those open shots.
And I think the big thing is like, no Naz there and no Randall. I mean, he's gonna have to play the 4 a lot and he's gonna
Mhm.
have to score. We know Rudy Gobert's just a rebounder and a putback guy. They need another scorer out there, another guy who's gonna be able to put up points besides LaMelo and Ant. So I think we could see a 1 or 2 point scoring boost this year as well.
Definitely. And we know that in the past, and LaMelo had a really nice season in terms of staying healthy last season, but in the past, LaMelo hasn't been able to stay on the court. So does that open up more opportunity for Jaden McDaniels? Perhaps, perhaps. You spoke about Naz Reid. He actually went straight after Jaden McDaniels. But any interesting picks so far? It looks somewhat standard. VJ Edgecombe went at the back end of the 6th round. For me,
Yeah,
that's
it's
probably
too
too
early.
high.
Way
That's
early
too
for me.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, uh, Anything else stand out? Zach Edey, I do like Zach Edey this season, but of course, health concerns. So he went close to the back end of the 5th round. How does that sound for you, Zach Edey? We know of the upside. He's
I
playing in that team,
I
a really young
love
team.
I love him as a player. I don't know if I can invest in him at that ADP just with the foot issues, man. Like I just really worry that he's got like a Yao Ming foot thing going on here, and
Mm.
I hope that's not the case because he's a great player. But I just don't know if I can pay that price for a guy that's such a injury risk.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely agree. We are flying through. We are
Flying, we're
absolutely flying
flying, man.
through,
This is
which
crazy.
which is great. We're in the 7th round. Very hard to recap it. We may have to recap some of these picks later on. You're on the clock in a couple of picks.
I'm looking
I
at.
need to start thinking about my
Sorry,
next
I'm
pick
going to
as
tell you
well.
what I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
P- the 79 pre-rank for Dylan Harper is crazy high. As much as I love Dylan Harper, the guy right behind him at 80 here, Peyton Pritchard, is such another comfort zone pick for me. I just think there's no way he doesn't put up about 17 and 7 ish in Boston this year in the post Jalen Brown world, whether he's coming off the bench or starting. It's just such a, and he's going to shoot the ball better. I think he and Derek White both shot the ball poorly at times last year. I think they both are due for really big bounce back years.
Yep, agreed, agreed. I was eyeing off De'Aaron Fox there. We spoke about Dylan Harper being pretty high. Steph Castle also up there, but De'Aaron Fox is somewhat lower on draft boards, and probably because it's such a disappointing playoffs. Now, I
Yeah.
have my other pick, so I've just taken Brandon Ingram. I think he gets some nice run at the Clippers,
Oh yeah.
supposing that he gets there as well. What do I need? I probably need some big men. I've only got Jalen Duren. Claxton is someone I'm considering. Maybe I'll go a little bit risky, and he was disappointing to end last season, but Derek Queen, again, the
I
fit
like
next
it.
to Zion Williamson, not too sure, but he does a little bit of everything. He's quite the I'd call him a point forward, but he's not a forward. He's just a really nice facilitating big man.
And there you go. Dylan Harper fell to me in the next round, so I took him. I know that still seems high at 88, but like I just think there's no way that they can see what he did in the finals and in the playoffs and not give this guy like 28 minutes. And I think that's probably plenty for him to do like 15, 5-5, good percentages. Again, like just ascending talent. If anything does happen to Fox or Castle, either one of them get injured, he's like a top 60 guy.
Absolutely. And those that play Dynasty probably have him a little bit higher, probably more like a top 25 to 30 guy long term
Yeah.
as well. Obviously, if De'Aaron Fox is moved, and that's probably unlikely just because of his contract situation, but if he is moved, my goodness, it's Dylan
Off
Harper
to the
time.
races. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Ty Jerome went in the 8th round. He's someone that I'm really high on this coming season. We saw per game last season that he was massive for the Memphis team, but a few more people back on that team, but there's no Ja Morant. I expect him to be the starting point guard as well.
Yeah, Ty Jerome, I know our buddy Dan Brespers is launching his first article with us over here at Rotoballer. It had him in his initial way too low kind of rankings. Like he's probably a good value there. And again, I have this maybe had a little bit of Dylan Harper tunnel vision there, but in a real league, I probably would have gone Jerome over Harper just for redraft purposes for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And some other favorites I think of Dan's as well. Norm Powell, some of these old man squad type of guys. Norm Powell, Miles Turner for a bounce back. Jimmy Butler to Steve. Again, he's going really risky. He's also, we forgot to mention, you look at his team. He's gone SGA at 2, Kyrie Irving in the 2nd round, Kawhi Leonard in the 3rd, DeJounte Murray in the 4th, Joel Embiid in the 5th, Dame Lillard in the 6th, Emmanuel Quickly, somewhat safe in the 7th, Jimmy Butler in the 8th, and then Andrew Wiggins. My God, man, it's a make or break team.
It would have been a great team in like 2017. It would have been an elite one.
There's no competing with him back 10 years ago.
Yeah, right.
That's quite an interesting build. I know he's just having fun with it today, but my goodness, I definitely want to hit him up and discuss that one. You're on the clock on the next pick. Any thoughts on where you may head?
Well, I'm not drafting Ja Morant at the top of the queue, and I think Peterson's too high, but he just went anyways. There's a lot of big men here.
Ja Morant. So we're now at pick 105. Ja Morant's still not good enough for you? Is that because of the backlog of facilitators?
I just have a total aversion to him, and I just can't do it. I do have a bunch of guards already too, so I think I'm going to go big man here, and or reach for somebody. No, I'll just take a big man. I think the safest guy, call me crazy, of this bunch is actually Keita. Wait,
that's not crazy.
Too late? Did I just pick
that's definitely not crazy. I love Keita.
Oh, I just got Morant. I went to click on Keita and I was a second too late.
Oh, you got
Morant.
You got your guy.
So anyways, the pick was going to be Keita just because I feel like even with Mitch Rob there, that he's still locked into about 26, 27 minutes. That Mitch Rob is probably going to play those other 20 minutes a night and probably rest some back-to-backs. I think his role's pretty secure, and we've seen what he can do. He's 10 and 8, a block and a half or so. I mean, it's a super safe kind of late round pick.
Yeah, look, I've sniped you there with Keita. I didn't want him getting back to you. I am also impressed with Keita. We know that Mitchell Robinson is now at Boston, but I still expect Keita to be the starting center. Just before that, I took Mark Williams. Mark Williams falling to, what did I get him at?
Super
after
late.
pick 100. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with so I've got Mark Williams at 108 and Keita at 109. So Mark Williams, we know per game, I think he's a top 60 guy. He can increase.
Drafted me again.
Did you auto draft? You auto drafted Wendell Carter. Yeah.
Oh wait, why did it? Oh, it clicked on the auto draft. I don't know why I did that. Maybe because I hadn't clicked, or I was clicking around the board, and maybe I didn't.
And guys, this is what mock drafts are all about. Get the cobwebs out.
Who did
get
it
the
take
rust
me?
out.
So it gave me Wendell Carter Jr.
Wendell Carter Jr. At least he's a starter. Supposedly a starter.
So those last two people are guys I would never draft, probably in any drafts ever. But that's okay.
That's all right.
We're having fun with it. We're having
fun. Mock draft. But hopefully some of you guys are picking up some tips here. There's some really nice value really late in this draft. Zach LaVine just went, and of course,
that's
terrible
wild.
Season last season. But getting him at 117, starting on that Kings, it's a struggling King. So if things go really south, he's probably going to be sitting a fair bit or on the bench a fair bit. But if he's starting, I think he can put up some nice numbers.
Right? I think he's definitely going to be shopped. I'd be surprised if they weren't shopping him this year.
And that's right. If he goes to a contender or even a struggling team, I think that he's got that upside there. He's 31 years old, so he's not the oldest of old men, but he's not a young guy. I think that's fine at around this point. And this is the point of the draft where you do take some of these flyer picks, whether it's a young stud who could be like a Yeoman or someone who's coming back, like a Zach Levine, who's got something to prove.
Yeah, no doubt about it. About to take some flyers here in a minute if I don't get sniped on some of these guys because I feel like when you get to anything after round 10, you have your foundation and now you're just hunting up. I mean, there's certainly going to be values that fall to you, but I think there's nothing wrong with hunting upside in those last 4 or 5 picks too. Because
Definitely.
realistically, think about it. Like how often do you end up cutting players and that you take in the last 4 or 5 rounds and picking up
Often.
hot guys off the wire? It's
I'm a
you know
streaming fiend, and that's what
yes
I do, and I do that quite early, which is probably to my detriment. But yeah, like you said, the last 2 to 3 guys on your roster, you almost need to consider expendable.
yeah.
If you're picking them for a reason, perhaps that's where you give them a little bit of a longer leash. But yeah, like you said,
There we
this is
go.
flyer territory.
Let's talk about Jemin. How do you feel about Jemin this year?
Yeah, Yeoman is really someone that I'm interested in. Of course, it's a struggling Nets team, but he's bulked up. If you've seen some of those videos on
Yeah.
Twitter, he looks massive, and that is just going to help him. I'm on the clock. You are distracting me, Dan.
Sorry.
That's okay. Um,
I'll
there are
talk
some
about him.
decent names here. Yeah,
The summer league stuff was good. He was getting a ton of shots up. I think playing off the ball a little more too, with having Mikael Brown coming in, and those guys kind of sharing kind of point guard duties and letting him play the two a little bit. It's all going to be good for his value. I know Randall's there, and I know Porter Jr.'s there, but I think Jemin's going to be a nice late round pick.
yeah, I agree. I actually took AJ Mitchell.
Ooh, took AJ.
And
Who's
then
my
I followed it up with not so much a flyer pick, but someone who I think can still be solid as a starter, CJ McCollum, straight after him.
Yeah, CJ is a great late pick. And you took AJ out of my queue, so now I'm going to go with the Golden State rookie Yaxel, who had a big
Hmm.
summer league too. I like the Axel. I think he's the one rookie who is not of the top four, not the top four, who's like got the biggest role right out of the gate. Like I think he's going to start. I think he's going to play 30 minutes.
Right. You think he's starting? Because I'm in two minds. Is it him or is it going to be Gear Santos? And we saw Gear Santos at the end of last season almost become a bit of a league winner for a lot of people. But
He was.
Yaxel looked really good in Summer League, and I can see that also happening. I can see that come to
And
fruition.
they've both been playing a lot, considering that their competition for minutes are the 80-year-old Al Horford and 80-year-old Draymond Green and Kristaps Porzingis, who hasn't played 30 games in 2 seasons. Like, I think they're both going to play a lot.
Yeah, I think so. He looks like a promising rookie, and those that are in Dynasty, I think he's a clear, probably top 80, top 90 guy, with some nice upside in for this season as well. We're coming to the end of round 12. We are going to, I think we're going to 13. We're going to 13 rounds.
Yeah.
So we've got one pick left. Any names on the board that you're considering?
I'm looking. Well, let's see. There's 9 picks ahead of me. I'm looking down here. I mean, Bobby Portis is sitting there. I think Bobby Portis is going to have a role in Miami this year, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's such a safe 9-cat guy. PJ Washington is sitting there. I mean, uh, I'd have a hard time not taking him for a block, steal, and a 3 a game. Um, Tari Eason is still down there. I mean, there's a ton of guys who are interesting to me. Even the Charlotte rookie Steinbach, who I don't know, call me crazy. I feel like he could end up starting by middle of the season, and he's a rebounding machine.
I think so. I think Moussa Diabate looked really good last season, but Steinbach looked great in Summer League. I think that really, it really propels him potentially as that starting center. I think they like playing that small ball, run and gun type of play, and
Yeah.
he could suit that. Moussa
And as much
really
as I like
suits that.
Musa is such a nice rebounder and glue guy, but if they want to, maximize their offensive production, like Steinbach, I watched him, man. He's got a little bit of range from outside. He can put a ball on the floor a little bit. He's such a better offensive player, and you don't lose the rebounding. So I mean, it'll be an interesting thing to see. I think the big loser there is Kalkbrenner. Like I don't know what they're going to do with how Kalkbrenner's going to get minutes over those two and Naz.
Yeah. It's interesting. Kalkbrenner started, and he was a bit of a darling for us early stages of last season. But yeah, he's definitely, for me, he's the third string center
Yeah,
right now.
I think so too. So, anyways,
Uh,
where am I at?
you're on the
Oh, I'm up.
clock. You've got
I'm
10
up. Shoot.
seconds.
Oh crap! Here we go. All right, I'll just go super safe. We'll just go Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis.
Yep.
I mean, I know he doesn't really get blocks anymore. He's not a steal, but just as far as a big man who pretty reliable field goal percentage, threes, rebounds, and I think he's probably gonna, with the fact that Miami just doesn't have a lot of guys, gonna play 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, for sure. That is the end of the draft. That was, yeah, crazy
Rapid
fast.
fire.
30-second, rapid, half an hour to do an entire draft. 30-second picks definitely helps. But like I said, these types of mock drafts just get the rust out. The cobwebs are out. Some things to learn in terms of the format, the look and feel of the draft room, particularly if you're quite used to fan tracks as well. So that was a good exercise.
It
Should we
was.
look at some of the teams? Should we look at your team?
Yeah, and we'll have to disregard the 2 picks that I got and there's a good tip for people is make sure you don't have that little auto draft thing toggled. I don't know if it did that to me because I was dormant for a little bit, or if I bumped it or something, but, um, yeah, the 2 picks that autoed were Morant and WCJ. I guess Morant is worth a flyer there. I just don't take him in. I just have an aversion to him. Wendell Carter Jr. is just, of the other centers that were available, that I probably would have gone. I actually really like Toumani Camara from Portland a lot. I know he's not a center, but I think he has center eligibility. Weirdly enough,
He does. Yeah.
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 So
Well, he definitely did last season. I expect
I
him
would have
to do that.
taken, yeah, I would have taken Keita instead of Morant, and I would have taken Kamara because I would already kind of in like a punt points build where I was, needed boards and safer 9 cat guys. So yeah, if you want to sub those two in, those have been my picks. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with that draft. I again getting used to where the guys like. Plus, we're doing this rapid fire. Getting used to where you're looking for your guys and who's coming up in how many picks. Like you can never do enough of these to where you want to do it to where you have second nature. Like, hey, it's the 3rd round. I have these 3 or 4 guys that I know I'm looking at. Uh, have them in your queue. You have that routine going where you know where your guys are at and whether you're gonna have to reach for guys and so on and so forth.
100%. Compare it to other ADP on other platforms like the fan tracks. Getting that value later on as well is paramount. I like the fact that you got Scotty Barnes at 16. He wasn't going past 14 not that long ago in mock drafts. He was more like an end of first rounder. So to get him at
Yeah,
16, I really like. Pritchard did like it, and again, this is not in order, but let's take it from the top. But Pritchard at 81, Kneppel was early, but is that
yeah,
going to
that
be a
was.
trend?
Yeah, I don't
It,
know. I
it could be a
mean,
trend.
it could have been a trend. Looking at the rest of the guys who went after that, I'm trying to see who I may have taken. I saw you took Booker. I love Derek White. I probably would have done either of those guys. Um, the fact that Booker went to you at the end of the 3rd round, isn't that a little bit weird? Like that's not something we're used to
It
seeing
is.
with Devin Booker.
No, it's not. And look, if you look at his numbers from last season, yeah, probably that's probably where he landed. But I think he has a lot more value than what those rankings indicate. So
Yeah.
getting him at the end of the 3rd, I'm pretty happy with. Let's just take it. And again, we're not going to go through every single pick, but Wemby at 1 over Jokic, which was interesting in itself. I put up a poll on Twitter today, and it was 70-30 Jokic's way. Most people are heading towards Jokic. I guess it's the safety element. He's looking good in World Cup qualifiers, but Wembanyama, if it's coming down to those two at 1 and 2 in a category league, I still think I'm leaning towards Wemby. What about yourself, Dan?
I have this thing with Jokic that like I just think he's so valuable in so many categories that like and I guess the Wemby blocks thing is just like you just lock blocks and you're so set there. But like Jokic, and I have this weird thing with efficiency, dude. Like I'm working on a little project this offseason where I'm trying to figure out the best correlations for punts and things like that. And like Jokic doesn't force you in any punts and is like one guy who can score 30 points a night who also isn't crazy high turnover and is good field goal percentage. Like he doesn't force you into any major punts right away, and he's just I don't know. I have a thing for Jokic. How about that? I think Jokic until Wemby really unseats him and puts up a crazy like break basketball, which is probably going to happen one of these years, right? Until he
Yeah,
does that, I think Jokic has a year or two as the number 1 guy still, and then they flip. But Steve going SGA over Jokic to me is just a little silly. I mean, I know he's having fun with it. I just think both of those guys are clear 1 and 2. If you
yep.
wanted to argue SGA versus Doncic at 3, I think there's an argument, but I still think it should be. Wemby or Jokic, and then SGA, and then Luca. Like that, just anything that different than that seems out of sorts for me.
Agreed. Agreed. I think Wemby 1A with Jokic 1B, vice versa, either or. It wasn't that long ago, and I still remember the days where we were always saying Jokic, he's a punt points guy, he's a punt threes guy. Like you said, you don't have to do that.
Oh,
He's elite in so many categories now. So I can see the safety of Jokic there, but what a treat if you get pick one or two. Two
mhm.
would be paramount. SGA, yeah, crazy, but Steve can get a little bit funky, which is cool. Doncic at 4, Cunningham at 5, Tatum at 6, Giannis at 7, Maxi at 8. Are you in the same camp as a lot of us, where we think that he's probably closer towards that back end, or because he was top
Yeah,
5 last season in categories? I don't think he can replicate that, but is
no,
8 about right?
8 seems right. If he would have fell to me at 9, I probably would have taken him there. I think he's still just a great foundational 9 cat guy. I think Tatum at 6 is probably what I if I had taken the 6th pick, I have him ahead of the rest of those guys just based on no Jalen in Boston. If he is healthy, I think we see him have a huge season. So, of those guys who are all in that mix for that 6th spot, I like Tatum, and then probably Maxi Johnson. Those guys kind of right after.
Yeah, let's look at the board this way. I took Cooper Flag at 12. You took Jalen Johnson. We spoke about those guys. I took Donovan Mitchell straight after that. You took Scotty Barnes. Con, you spoke about Donovan Klingon. I really like in the 4th round. OG is very safe, same as Jaden McDaniel. Spoke about them. Peyton Pritchard, increased role or about the same as last season?
Pretty similar, maybe a little bit more, but again, what he did last year was really good. If he ups his efficiency a little bit, or hits a few more threes, or adds another half an assist or so, I think he's again. It's not an upside pick as much as it is like a real foundational. Like you need assists, and he's going to give you 6 or 7 assists every day.
Yep, definitely. Dylan Harper, you talked about him and you grabbed him. Nice upside there. Ja Morant, you didn't intend on taking Ja Morant, but in the 9th round, back into the 9th round, I don't hate that. I know you autoed, but I don't actually hate that one. Wendell
How
Carter
about
Jr.,
this?
obviously. Go
Yeah, I
on.
was gonna ask you, just 2 picks, before that, Peyton Watson, is that early on Peyton Watson in Cleveland? I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah, it is.
yeah.
It is. I know he's had a bit of hype, obviously, with the move to Cleveland, but
I don't
if we
see
talk
how
about it, I
he's gonna be
can't
the
see the
5th, 4th
usage.
or 5th option out there. I love it as a Cavs fan for real life,
Mhm.
but honestly, like, there's even a possibility. I know they paid him all the money, so he's probably gonna start at small forward, but they probably ought to start, like, Jordan Tyson at the 3 and bring Peyton Watson off the bench to play the 3 and the 4. If they were really trying to maximize, like, guys on the floor, I don't know. I don't know that he's gonna play, like, 35 minutes. I think he's gonna play, like, 30 or
And
31,
and I'll ask you
32.
as a Cavs fan, does Peyton Watson, does that actually impact the likes of Jared Allen, where they want to play small ball 5
It
with
does.
Mobley at 5?
I
Peyton
think Jared
Watson comes in
Allen
at the 4.
and that's why Jared Allen is dropping. Like, where did he go in this draft? I think I took him in, like, the 8th or 9th round somewhere.
Yeah, he did go really late.
Let's see if we can find him.
Yeah. Let's have
Here's
a look. While you try to find him, I'll just
Yeah, I'll
finish
find him.
off your draft as well. If you find him, you talk Yeoman. We spoke about him. Nice upside picks with Yeoman, Lendenborg, and Bobby Portis as a nice end of draft sort of anchor there. So, like your draft, apart from those, well, I'm gonna criticize the Wendell Carter Jr. You wouldn't do that, but
I
Jar,
wouldn't have done that, yeah.
I don't mind that Jar one. Going back to mine, yeah, like I said, started with Cooper Flag, a lot of hype around him. I think he can live up to that. He's probably more like a second rounder, but I'm going for a
Yeah.
little bit of fun. I think
I think
even in the
yeah.
points league, he projects to be a back end first rounder in categories not too far away. Donovan Mitchell gone for safety. Devin Booker, we spoke about him at 36. I think that's really safe. Jalen Duran, I needed a center. I got myself my center. LeBron James at almost 42 years of age, but getting him at pick 60, I'm happy with.
That's
Matas
awesome.
Buzelis, bit of the hype guy at the moment, 61. Brandon Miller, nice environment, nice situation, but it could be a little bit concerning towards the back end of the season come fantasy playoffs. If he is indeed going to the Clippers, which we expect, he's going to have some high usage, but is he going to be sitting come end of
Yeah,
season?
that's the question. I know you met Brandon Ingram. I think you said Brandon Miller, but I know you're talking about Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram. Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Brandon
I do
Ingram is
love
the
your
guy.
Derek
Yep.
Queen pick. I think Derek Queen is a guy people are gun shy about based on like how he kind of fizzled out a little bit towards the end of last year. But we saw what he can do as far as assists, as far as even some defensive stats. I know he's not a great defender, but he's gonna get some blocks and steals just being out there and playing those minutes. I like his offensive game. I think he's a great pick, kind of in that late those that last half of the draft. And if going back to Jared Allen, he went seventh round, seventh pick, which is
Right.
I think about right. I feel like I got him even later in a draft recently, but I think people are worried about him playing back to like 28 minutes, them playing small ball with like Watson at the 4, Mobley at the 5. But the reality still is in 20 minutes, Jaren Allen's probably going to give you like 12 and 8,
Mhm.
65% from the floor, about a block. Like it's a super like low end, easy pick, but it's not. There's just probably no upside attached to Allen, which is why he's falling down there with the Goberts and the other safe traditional centers who just aren't. You know,
That's right. Now
yeah.
our room's about to close, but yeah, Derek Queen, okay. Mark Williams and Namesh Cater, I'm happy at 9 and 12. AJ Mitchell in the 11th, I love. CJ McCullum straight after that. Uh, and that was
And
the
they
end of the
kicked us out.
draft. It kicked us out, but that's all right. It was a really solid draft. Rust galore. I need to practice, but it was really good to have some of those analysts join us as well, some
Yeah.
public as well. Thank you so much, Thunder Dan. Take us through what's next for you. What are you working on right now? I know you're very busy across 3 sports.
Yeah, across 3 sports, but as far as basketball goes, I mentioned, I'm gonna be having some written content probably at the beginning of September, maybe back towards the middle of September. I'm not quite ready to launch all that. I'll be doing 9 cat rankings, but I've been doing a lot of research this off season with some correlational stuff for punting and doing some research on some second and third years players to break out with different stats to target a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, I'm digging in uh, kind of deeper and going a little harder than ever before. So I'm looking to get that stuff out after football starts here. I know here in the states we have this NFL thing we have to deal with in fantasy first, but once we get that football stuff out of the way, lots of basketball stuff coming up. So check it out. All my stuff's at Rotoballer, at Thunder Dan DFS on Twitter, and looking forward to doing more mocks with you in the next month or so.
100%. Yeah, you're a busy man, and it'll be great to get you back on the show at some stage. Make sure you give him a like and subscribe. Follow all things Thunder Dan over on Twitter and everything else. Fantastic work. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show, Thunder Dan. Speak soon. Thank you, guys. Really appreciated it. Make sure you like and subscribe all things at NBA Fantasy Bible. You can catch me as well. I'm trying to get out as much content as possible. Like I said earlier, about 60 days left until the start of the season. Thank you so much, guys. And until next time, see ya.